Hey, fourth graders, sorry I couldn't be here today. Just wanted to make sure you guys understood the expectations on today's test. So double check that your name and your number is up on the top number, meaning the number that you are in Miss Ryan or my class. This box, remember, is for me, so you'll be getting 3 different grades. This test counts 3 times, so really important that you do your very best today. The first several questions are actually going to be very similar to what we've done in class with multiplicative comparison. So your model equation, your label solution, make sure you got your bar model for whoever's being compared, your equation with a variable, so you might want to write that in on your test. I'm specifically looking for an equation that uses a variable, and then you have to solve for your variable in this box here. Your label solution has to be in a complete sentence and obviously answering the specific question. You might want to even draw, for example, on this one to go back after you've done your complete sentence to choose whatever equation goes with number 1. Some of you forgot to do that on the last test, even though you did draw this arrow. So you'll do that for number 1. Number 2 is not multiple choice, but very similar, same setup, so I'm not going to go on about number 2. Flip over to the next page here. Number 3, you have your bar model equation, label solution, same as before, same expectation there. Go nice and slow there because there's a lot of silly mistakes. Make sure you are understanding who has less and who has more before you start multiplying or dividing. Number 4 and 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all area and perimeter. So area and perimeter, I'm not going to lie, has been a little bit of a struggle for some of you. Some of us are right on target. Some of us are still working our way through it. But this number 4 is actually a fixed perimeter question. So if you remember, there's a little pattern trick that you can use to help you find out the dimensions of fixed perimeter rectangles. Make sure you have your work down here. Remember, your work is the most important part of this question. So if you are just circling an answer but you don't have the work to back it up, you're going to lose a lot of points. So make sure you're doing that on number 4. Number 5, this is a fixed area and fixed perimeter question. Remember, if it's fixed area and fixed perimeter, my recommendation is to start with a fixed area. Start thinking about how you can get dimensions that have an area of 36. I can't tell you a strategy right now, but there is definitely a strategy that we use to find out numbers that multiply together to get 36. Make sure that you're labeling all over in here. And in the end, you need to draw a rectangle that has the area of 36 square units and a perimeter of 26 units. Unfortunately, it does say units, so I am still looking for you to say units or square units wherever your work is. It does not say inches or feet, so just use units or UN. That's number 5. Number 6, 7, and 8 are all very similar. These are compound shapes, also known as rectilinear shapes, also known as irregular shapes. So there's lots of different names for that. Very important that you understand that these are not drawn to scale, so you cannot just simply look at it and say, oh, this looks like it's 5 centimeters. Remember, last week we were doing things where we were kind of darkening the horizontal sides and then also circling like the vertical sides. That's my recommendation. Kind of go through it very slowly, making sure that you are looking for any size that might be missing. Start there. Try and label any size that might be missing. For example, on this number 6, you have a side that's missing here, you have a side that's missing here, and you have a side that's missing here. So you have to use what you know about rectangles, opposite sides being equal, that sort of thing to help you figure it out. Definitely going to be a lot of work here. This whole page has all this space for you to do work. So if you're going to be adding numbers or you're going to be multiplying numbers, write down what you're doing, even if it is in your head. So if you're doing like 6 times 7 equals 42, then write down 6 times 7 equals 42. The more work, the better. So you have all this room. I'm specifically going to be looking for the work on how you calculate the area and perimeter for each of these figures. And then my recommendation is to really go nice and slow. We made a lot of silly mistakes in our perimeter, finding the sum of all the sides and that sort of thing. Even in our area, go really slow on these. There's definitely some really tricky things here. And make sure you're splitting this up actually on the figure of how you're going to be calculating the area, because you're not going to be able to calculate an area of an irregular shape without dividing it into smaller rectangles. So those are the expectations. I know you guys are going to do great. I wish I could be there to support you, but just know that I'm your biggest fan and that I'm rooting for you. After this video is over, you might want to take some deep breaths, just kind of calm yourself down, because I know this is a big test. Your interim report cards are going home on Friday, and this is going to be your last grade that's going to be on there. So do your very best, keep your eyes on your own paper, and make me proud. Good luck.